You're watching News Channel 5 on your side.
Mail tossed in the trash, and a local letter carrier confesses she did it. 5 on Your Side gets answered for people whose sensitive documents are still missing.
Caught on camera, a Missouri police officer opens fire. Why he pulled the trigger in the middle of a busy street.
5 on Your Side investigates the high cost of heroin addiction.
I eventually had to just take over.
How a St. Louis family is coping after drug abuse nearly tore them apart.
The promising new therapy for pain that doesn't require surgery.
And the results are like heaven.
The new way people are getting relief without going under the knife.
Tossed in a field, in a ditch, even a dumpster. Dozens of people are missing their mail in the Metro East.
5 on Your Side wants to get answers for them, and we learned a mail carrier is now under federal investigation. News Channel 5 Jennifer Meckles is live in Alton.
And investigators tell us they believe there are 100 victims or so in this case. And the Postal Service sent letters to people living along that route just to give them the heads up they might have some mail missing.
I noticed I hadn't gotten my W-2 yet, but didn't think much of it because it just hadn't come yet.
That was the first clue for Nick Sutton that something wasn't right.
I went and got one, and the same day I got the letter.
Second clue was a letter like this one from the Postal Service, notifying customers along one Alton route that some mail had been discarded or destroyed within the past 90 days. The U.S. Postal Service Office of the Inspector General is now investigating. They say a female letter carrier working as a fill-in admitted to throwing away pieces of mail, leaving the items in a field, a ditch, and a dumpster in Alton. About 200 items have been recovered, then forwarded on to their intended recipient, but about 100 addresses are still missing some mail.
The majority of the postal employees are hardworking, and it's just a rare instance that this occurs. But when they do, we're obviously working together with the Postal Service to eliminate the problem and not tolerate it.
Sutton and his neighbors are now learning what's behind the letter and trying to pinpoint what's still missing from their mail.
One of my daughters has a doctor's appointment, and they were sending paperwork for us to fill out, and it did not ever arrive.
The one question still lingering, why?
That's crazy. I don't understand why you wouldn't do your job.
Now, the Office of the Inspector General tells us this mail carrier only worked at this Postal Service since like mid-December, and since she has admitted to this, she has resigned. Investigators are working with the U.S. Attorney's Office and state and local prosecutors and tell us that she could face some serious charges. Reporting from Alton tonight, Jennifer Meckles, News Channel 5 on your side.
We learned about this story through a tip, so if you have something we should investigate, let us know. Send an email to 5onyourside@ksdk.com or call us 314-444-5231.
A rash of arsons in South St. Louis put neighbors on edge for weeks. Now a suspected serial arsonist is behind bars, and we've learned he struck close to home. News Channel 5's Christina Coleman is live at St. Louis Police Headquarters with details of the investigation.
Federal agents set up surveillance cameras, and they say it shows the suspect both going to and leaving the scene of several fires, and they say they were all set in his own neighborhood.
Snow falls on the burnt debris left behind by an alleged serial arsonist. The charred aftermath, a grim reminder for neighbors.
So this was the part that burst into flames when I came out to go to work in the morning.
Kate Volz woke up to her garage on fire.
He started the back wall on fire. He had tried 2 different areas, an area in the front and then the back corner.
And Kate's garage wasn't the only property to get burned. Police say 47-year-old Michael Naro set fires to dumpsters and garages in at least 3 different locations in the Princeton Heights neighborhood last month. Surveillance video led authorities to Naro. They searched Naro's home and found a jacket with residue matching the type of road flares that were found at 2 of the fires, according to officials. Neighbors are just grateful an arrest was made.
It was very uncomfortable knowing that someone was going around setting fires.
It sounds kind of crazy to wake up in the morning and think, like, is there been a fire? So I know that I'm happy and the neighborhood's happy that we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Naro is being held at the St. Louis City Jail, and at this point, he is not allowed to post bond. Reporting live tonight from police headquarters, Christina Coleman, News Channel 5 on your side.
New tonight, a St. Peter's man is charged with carjacking a student at St. Louis University. Nicholas Rhodes is charged with felony counts of first and second degree robbery. Police say he tried to swipe a woman's car at the Starbucks drive-thru last Tuesday. When that didn't work, he took a student's car a couple of blocks away. Investigators say Rhodes was on drugs at the time of the incident.
For nearly 30 years, he swore to protect and serve his community. But tonight, a retired Granite City police officer is accused of lying about being carjacked while on duty. News Channel 5's Jacob Long has the details live from the Madison County Sheriff's Office.
Well, Mike, according to the court records that I got my hands on today, former Lieutenant Thomas Paul knowingly lied to multiple co-workers, including his boss, the chief of police in Granite City. These documents also say he lied about the extent of his injuries he said he sustained while on the job. Near the corner of North Street and Illinois Route 3 is where this all began late last December. Initially, Granite City Police reported that Lieutenant Thomas Paul spotted a driver slumped over the wheel, so he stopped to help. But while he was outside of his vehicle, the department said someone hopped in and struck him with it before driving away. The unmarked 2014 Ford Fusion was eventually recovered in St. Louis County, and so were some of Paul's firearms. But court documents filed in Madison County on Monday allege that the 51-year-old wasn't completely truthful about what really happened or the injuries he said he sustained on duty. Paul's charges include 3 counts of obstructing justice and 1 count of official misconduct. A special prosecutor on the case says Paul lied to prevent the apprehension of a woman who is named in the court records but isn't facing any charges yet. Paul has retired from the Granite City Police Department after 28 years of service. Now, police have said that there was a woman in that unmarked squad car at the time it was stolen, but they haven't said the relationship that she had with Lieutenant Paul or what role she might have had in any of this. At last check, he had turned himself into authorities here at the Madison County Jail with bond set at $50,000. Live in Edwardsville, Jacob Long, News Channel 5 on your side.
In a 5 on your side consumer alert, scammers are posing as firefighters so they can steal your money. The Wentzville Fire Department says con men are calling elderly residents. They've been asking for donations for the fire department. The agency says these calls are a scam. They want family members to warn their older relatives and stop them from coughing up any cash. Tomorrow will likely be the biggest decision in the city of Ferguson's history. The city council will decide whether or not to accept a deal with the Justice Department. The proposed agreement includes widespread reforms to police and the court system. But some fear the changes could bankrupt the city. The crowd is expected to be so large, the meeting was moved to the Ferguson Community Center. That meeting is scheduled to start at 7 p.m. Customers of Missouri American Water could soon be facing bigger bills. The agency is asking for a rate hike of nearly 10%. They say it's needed for improvements to the water and sewer system. In the St. Louis metro area, the average bill would go from $44 to nearly $47 a month.
Developing news on the fight against the Zika virus. The CDC has moved its alert status to the highest level. The agency says more than 300 staff members are monitoring the outbreak. The Zika virus is linked to birth defects in thousands of children in Brazil. It's the 4th time the CDC has gone to a level 1 alert. The other emergencies were Hurricane Katrina, the H1N1 flu, and the Ebola epidemic. A well-known research team in St. Louis is on the forefront of fighting the Zika virus. Professors Michael Diamond and David Fremont work at Washington University. They put in countless hours of work hoping to eventually find a vaccine. But first, they hope to give the world a better way to diagnose Zika.
Right now, it's very hard to diagnose Zika using any good diagnostic kit because it's so related to other viruses. And so having a good Zika-specific diagnostic kit is a very high priority.
The professors say it's hard to put a timeline on finishing their goals, but they're in contact with the National Institutes of Health, and the agency is making sure they have the resources to continue their experiments.
Tomorrow will be a key day in the fight against Missouri's drug epidemic. The State House will vote on something called a prescription drug monitoring program. It would track prescriptions for opioid painkillers like oxycodone and hydrocodone. Right now, Missouri is the only state in the country without this kind of database. Supporters say it's an important step in the fight against drug abuse. Critics say the decision should be left up to voters, not lawmakers.
We've seen the ravaging effects of drug abuse on addicts, ruin careers, lives, families. But what about the youngest victims, their children? 5 on Your Side's Nicole Burley takes a closer look at how a St. Louis family is coping after heroin addiction nearly tore them apart.
This is one of Patricia Polk's most cherished pastimes, spending time with her grandchildren, 4-year-old Olivia and 8-year-old Taneas.
I eventually had to just take over.
Olivia and Taneas live full-time with 57-year-old Patricia. She's their grandmother and their foster mom. Patricia says her daughter's combination of mental illness and drug addiction forced her to take action.
She was using crack cocaine and heroin. I was like worried. She wasn't coming home. She was staying gone. And I had to report her.
And Patricia's story is similar to many families as addiction continues crossing color and economic lines. Laura Pennington is executive director of Queen of Peace Health Center in the Central West End. She says family members often have to step in.
Addiction is a disease that impacts the whole family and the whole community.
So how much does this really impact the bi-state? 5 on Your Side contacted the Missouri Department of Social Services. In 2014, nearly 1,700 of all Child Protective Services investigations involved drug-related problems. And in 2014 in Illinois, DCFS reports nearly 2,200 abuse and neglect investigations involved substance misuse.
Got it. The numbers don't reveal how many of those investigations led to foster care, but local behavioral health experts say there's no mistaking heroin's reach.
Anytime that a child is removed from their family and they experience that grief and loss from the loss of those connections, and really the thought of, what did I do wrong?
It's an issue Patricia Polk deals with every day. For now, though, she just takes things a day at a time and keeps her faith first.
I don't think he brought me all the way here to let me go, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Nicole Burley, News Channel 5 on Your Side.
The Missouri Department of Social Services tells 5 on Your Side that agency staff always attempts to identify a relative who can provide appropriate placement, but the agency is also always looking to increase the number of foster families available in a community.
Caught on camera, a Missouri police officer opens fire on a crowded street. What this new video reveals about his choice to pull the trigger.
Plus, the heartbreaking reality of human trafficking in our backyard. The steps being taken to prevent modern-day slavery in St. Louis.
Getting relief from chronic pain without going under the knife.
And the results are like heaven.
The promising new therapy for pain that doesn't require surgery. New tonight, a Missouri police officer will not be charged for shooting a man during a pursuit in downtown Hannibal. This incident was captured on another officer's dash cam in January of last year. An officer working security at a movie theater recognized a man wanted on a warrant. When he approached the suspect, the man took off and drove away. The officer followed on foot and fired a shot into the car. But he missed the suspect, and instead, he hit a passenger. Today, an internal investigation ruled the officer acted within department policy. He will not face any charges related to the incident.
Terrifying moments for people at a gas station in Southern California. State inspectors are trying to figure out what caused a canopy to collapse. There was a car at the pump when it came crashing down. Thankfully, the driver was inside the convenience store.
New tonight, the family of a toddler with lead poisoning in Flint is going after the government. The father of 2-year-old Sophia Wade had a gut feeling something was wrong. His daughter went from bubbly and energetic to anxious and constantly irritable. A blood test showed Sophia had lead poisoning from drinking the city's contaminated water. The family has filed the first individual lawsuit against both Flint and the state of Michigan.
What scares me is just what's to come. What's to come in the future, Is she gonna be ADHD, Is she gonna have learning disability?
Levels of lead in the blood that are 5 or greater are considered to be toxic. According to the family, Sophia's lead level tested at 14.
The FBI calls human trafficking the world's fastest growing criminal enterprise. Millions of people who are bought, sold, and smuggled like modern-day slaves. It turns out the St. Louis region is one of the top 20 hotspots in the United States. So tonight, authorities held a human trafficking summit at Edwardsville High School. Students, parents, and teachers were educated about the growing issue and taught how to recognize victims and identify key risk factors.
It does happen. Out of sight, out of mind doesn't work with human trafficking. We need to do everything we can to make sure that every young child in this area and in this country understands the threat and understands what the signs are.
Experts say the rise of human trafficking in the Midwest is because of the internet. Anonymous apps and websites have made it easier to traffic victims.
If you suffer from chronic knee, hip, back, maybe neck pain, you know how pain can just alter your life. Now a new procedure that doesn't require surgery is helping people regain the active life they thought they lost.
And what about the space here? Is that big enough? Because you're coming from a big house.
Selling homes is Joyce Shaw's passion. But it wasn't that long ago that chronic knee pain threatened to put an end to it.
Gnawing, grating, can't get away from it.
The kind of pain that changes a person.
Totally restricted. I mean, I was suffering from a disability.
That's when Joyce visited Dr. Michael Boutros at Washington University and Barnes Jewish Hospital's Pain Management Center and learned about a promising new therapy.
The name of the procedure is called cooled radiofrequency of the genicular nerves.
The two-step process targets nerves that cause pain and doesn't require surgery.
Those small nerves, they have no other purpose than to relay sensation from the painful knee. So if you take away those nerves by zapping them, then that sensation is no longer being relayed to the brain. And if you have
the procedure works on the small nerves around the joints, especially in the back, neck, and hip, and in Joyce's case, her right knee.
So this is a good alternative instead of living with the pain and taking opioid medications or narcotics for the rest of their life.
The first step takes about 10 minutes. X-rays are used to locate the small nerves that are causing a person discomfort. Then numbing medicine is injected into the area where the nerves should be, and patients go home with a pain diary.
So if we numb those nerves up and it produces pain relief, we have a much more higher confidence that those are the nerves causing the pain.
If a patient gets more than 50% relief, they return. And under light sedation, the doctor performs the procedure.
We place those needles in, and we cause a small little lesion, a little zap, and that's it.
The procedure is not really painful, and the results are like heaven.
They don't last forever, but the procedure can be done again.
These procedures have shown to typically last 6 to 12 months of pain relief.
These days, nothing holds Joyce back.
Whitewater rafting and snowmobiling through Yellowstone National Park.
The knee pain that once ruled her life,
Ready?
a thing of the past.
We'll come back. It gave me back my life, the life that I love, the life that I didn't want to give up.
I mean, I know you do.
The procedure is also an option for patients who need to lose weight before undergoing surgery. Pain often prevents them from exercising, making losing that weight difficult. Cooled radiofrequency can often rid them of that pain.
Windy and cold today. We've picked up a little bit of snow, not a lot of reports out there. This one came from our own, very own Rick Kirby. He was in Edwardsville tonight. Now you can see some of it is sticking, at least on the parking lots. Grassy areas, there might be a little bit of snow. We've had some other reports in the viewing area, but everything has been very light, and it's all wrapping around a center of low pressure in southern Canada. So we're getting that northwest flow. The frontal system well to the south. It's going to continue to do so tonight. So snow showers turning to flurries by tomorrow morning. You can see everything moving in from northwest to southeast. Some spots have not had much of anything. Others have had a little bit more. Even within the 270 corridor, we've got some breaks and a little bit of snow moves in. There have been bands that have been heavier tonight. There could be some accumulating spots on bridges and overpasses, so be careful, slow down again tomorrow morning for your commute. Here's a couple of Carlisle, Illinois, 0.8 of an inch. Edwardsville, Rick says it's only about a dusting there, so not a lot of snow. It's been light. Temperatures are cold. Right now it's with a northwest wind that's gusting up to 30 miles per hour. This is the straight wind, 20 at St. Charles, 16 at Alton, 14-mile-per-hour winds at St. Louis, but it's those wind gusts. Combine that with the temperature, Feels like it's much colder than the actual temperatures in the lower 20s. Add the wind, it feels like it's in the single digits to teens. That'll be the case for the rest of tonight. Very cold tomorrow morning. Timeline, turning to flurries. Overnight low in the city, 20 degrees, 21 at 9 a.m., 24 by noon. We're going to be cloudy for the most part tomorrow. Some clearing from west to east tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Highs in the mid-20s. The snow will move off to the east, and then another little system will slide in from the north and west. This is a small disturbance, but look at the location. 27 degrees on Wednesday, but with a chance for some light snow, especially west and southwest of St. Louis. This model will continue to change with every update. I'll let you see this and see for yourself where we think that snow is going to fall. Don't think this is going to be a lot, but it bears watching, and we'll be tracking it for you. 24 degrees, light snow turns to flurries, northwest winds 17, gusting to 30 overnight. Today's high was 40 degrees. That was very early. 26 was the low. So the rest of tonight, flurries with a low of 20. Temperatures of the next few days will start rebounding by the end of the week. So Wednesday, we're going to have to keep an eye on that next disturbance with some snow. Then we've got variably cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Saturday, cold but sunny. Valentine's Day is going to bring some snow.
Okay, Cindy, thanks.
A famous part of downtown's getting a makeover.
We'll show you the overhaul of almost 2 acres in the heart of St. Louis.
Plus the posh digs Beyonce got for the Super Bowl. And the animals that came with her rental.
And how will the Blues deal with another big-time injury? Hear from their head coach after the break.
The News Channel 5 Sports Desk is sponsored by Royal Gate Automotive Group.
How many more times will the Blues be asked to roll with the punches? Well, at least once more. They're going to go at least 3 weeks without defenseman Alex Pietrangelo. He's now on the IR with a knee injury. The Blues will host the Jets tomorrow. Time again for someone to step up.
I think we really have just found ways to obviously get points, and the guys who have to step up, they're not trying to play too much out of their comfort zone. They're just doing a little bit extra, but they're not being asked to do to all of a sudden become an NHL superstar.
It will be crowded in downtown Denver tomorrow. They're going to hold a parade for the Super Bowl champion Broncos. When the team won in 1999, nearly 400,000 fans turned out. The Broncos returned home today after beating Carolina in Super Bowl 50. The big post-game question was about the future of quarterback Peyton Manning. Is he done?
I'm going to follow my coach's advice. I'm going to enjoy this Super Bowl victory and celebrate with my family and friends. I'll keep doing it for a few more weeks, and then at the appropriate time, I think I'll make a decision.
High school hoops tonight. Vashon played Northwest Academy. Vashon made a nice play on the break. Casey Cody Jackson delivered the ball to Jermaine Walker, but the Hornets did not go away. Wilshawn Warren got the basketball, drove baseline, and scored with a backwards finger roll. Nice! But Vashon won 61-55. The Wolverines are now 15-4. A close finish between Clayton and St. Dominic. St. Dominic was down by 3 with less than 30 seconds to go, and Clayton got tough down low. Nate Bingaman jumped up to make a huge block. The Greyhounds pulled away by hitting their free throws, and Clayton won 59-52. Rosati King looked to get something going against Duchesne tonight. Michaela Jones passed the ball across to Leah Zeke-Duda. She put it up, and she put it in for 3. But the Pioneers were simply too much. Amy Edmondson found her way to the hoop, put it off the glass, and in for 2. Duchesne won 56-33. The Pioneers are now 19-3. And that is it for sports tonight. We'll be right back.
A life change.